afternoon and welcome to all of you. You are all requested to be seated because the Chief of the Army Staff will be arriving immediately in about 2 minutes. Again, I make an announcement that all the mobiles should be switched off till the end of the lecture. Also, please note that no one will be allowed to vacate the auditorium before the departure of the Chief of the Army Staff. Once the Chief of the Army Staff departs, announcement will be made and then only can the audience leave. You are requested to leave from the exit on my left, the first exit here, and from the rear exit. Thank you. The Chief of the Army Staff has arrived. Please stand up. I request all to be seated. Good afternoon, and on behalf of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, Savitribai Phule Pune University, I, Bharati Kokil, welcome you all to the General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture 2017. I would like to request the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Savitribai Phule Pune University, Professor Dr. Nitin Karmalkar, to present a bouquet to the Chief of the Army Staff, General Bipin Rawat, who will be delivering a lecture on India's challenges in the current geostrategic construct. I would like to request the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Nitin Karmalkar, to present a bouquet to Mrs. Rawat. A bouquet to Mrs. Rawat. Thank you, sir. May I call upon the Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Head Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, Professor Dr. Vijay Khare, to present a bouquet and a shawl to Mrs. Manjula Joshi, wife of late General B.C. Joshi. A bouquet and shawl to Mrs. Manjula Joshi, wife of late General B.C. Joshi. Thank you, sir. I would like to request the Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Head, Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, Professor Dr. Vijay Khare, to present a bouquet to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Nitin Karmalkar. Thank you, sir. I would like to request the Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Head, Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, Professor Dr. Vijay Khare, to present a bouquet to General Officer Commander-in-Chief, Southern Command, Lieutenant General P.M. Harris. Thank you, sir. I would like to request Mrs. Shaligram, wife of the Registrar, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, to present a bouquet to Mrs. Harris. Mrs. Shaligram, wife of the Registrar, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, to present a bouquet to Mrs. Harris. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, all of you, once again. I would like to call upon Professor Dr. Vijay Khare, the Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Head of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, to give the welcome address.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my students. It's my pleasure welcoming Chief of the Army Staff, General Bipin Rawat, Uttam Yuddha Seva Medal, Ati Vishishta Seva Medal, Yuddha Seva Medal, Seva Medal, Vishishta Seva Medal, and AD the camp, who has kindly consented to deliver the General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture 2017 on India's challenges in the current geostrategic construct. My welcome to Ms. Manjula Joshi, wife of late General B.C. Joshi. I would also like to welcome the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Dr. Nitin Karmarkar, General Officer Commander-in-Chief, Southern Command, Indian Army Lieutenant General P.M. Harris, officers of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, both for serving and retired, and all who are present in the audience. The Department of Defense and Strategic Studies organizes the General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture as an annual feature in the memory of late General B.C. Joshi. The department was founded in 1963 as a department that sought to study problems of peace and security that India faces. The department has evolved and grown in many respects over the several decades. The department conducts MA, MSc, MPhil, and PhD program. The Indian Army has created a Chhatrapati Shivaji Chair in Policy Studies. We also have the Indian Army Residence Scholars Program for Army officers, and Indian Armed Forces do research work in the department. The Indian Armed Forces has played a significant role in the development of the department. General B.C. Joshi, during his tenure at the Southern Command and then Chief of the Army Staff, was instrumental in taking several initiatives for a closer link between the armed forces and academia. The collaborative programs which were initiated and originated under the leadership of General B.C. Joshi have now gained a strong foothold. General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture is organized as a symbol of recognition to this collaborative effort Today we have Chief of the Army Staff, General Bipin Rawat, as our chief guest for the General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture 2017. Let me, on behalf of the department, on behalf of the faculty and students of the university, I welcome him. As a tradition, this function has no dice and we continue to follow the norms. This is a memorial lecture and no question and are, are asked. However, the chief will interact with the print media and electronic media and with the student during tea for 15 minutes. I now invite the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Nitin Karmarkar, to give his introductory remarks and introduce the speaker. Thank you.
Good afternoon. General Bipin Rawat, UYSM, AVSM, YSM, SM, VSM, ADC, Chief of the Army Staff, Mrs. Manjula Joshi, wife of the late General B.C. Joshi, members of the Army, Navy, Air Force, both serving and retired, other institutional heads, civil, distinguished personalities, institutional heads, representatives from print and electronic media, and students of Savitribai Phule Pune University. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to the annual General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture 2017. I am confident that this lecture will immensely benefit the academic community. The aim of the educational system should be to build character, human values, enhance the learning capacity through technology, and build the confidence through technology among students to face the future. Savitribai Phule Pune University is thus conscious of its social commitment. As far as the university's academic commitment is concerned, Savitribai Phule Pune University during the last 5 years has to its credit 3,503 journal articles, 305 books, 414 book chapters and 677 conferences to its credit. Under the Government of India initiative to internationalize higher education, Savitribai Phule Pune University has entered into several academic collaborations and strategic partnerships with prestigious academic institutions from all over the world. In the path of its consistent progress towards academic excellence, Savitribai Phule Pune University is ranked second by the Times Higher Education World University Ranking among the universities in India. The university has been reaccredited with A+ grade in the year 2017 by National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC, as a mark of status with potential for excellence by the University Grant Commission. This is the highest status achieved by any state university in Maharashtra. The National Institutional Ranking Framework has ranked the university at 10th position among Indian universities. In the overall ranking of all the higher education institutions in India, the university has been placed at 18th position. The university is the only state university in Maharashtra among the top 100 universities in India. We are fortunate that in Pune city, there are a number of training institutes for serving officers, including the headquarters of the Southern Command. Our association with the defense establishment here has brought quality to the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies. Every year, Savitribai Phule Pune University has a large number of service officers who join the department. The vision of the university is to provide an academically conducive environment to help create globally competent graduates for rapidly changing responsibilities in academia as well as the professional world and beyond. With this, I once again welcome you all to the General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture 2017 and would like to introduce today's chief guest and speaker, Honorable Chief of the Army Staff, General Bipin Rawat. General Bipin Rawat is an alumni of National Defense Academy, Khadakwasla. He has a lot of experience in high altitude warfare and spent 10 years conducting counter-insurgency operations. He has commanded a company in Uri, Jammu and Kashmir, an infantry battalion in the eastern sector, along the line of actual control at Kibbutz 5 sector of Rashtriya Rifles, Sopor, as Brigade Commander 19 Infantry Division Uri, 3rd Corps Dimapur, and was General Officer Commanding in Chief, Southern Command. He has also held staff assignments which include an instructional tenure at the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, General Staff Officer Grade 2 at the Military Operations Directorate, Logistics, Staff Officer of Reorganized Army Planes Infantry Division in Central India, Colonel Military Secretary and Deputy Military Secretary in the Military Secretary's branch, and Senior Instructor in the Junior Command Wing. He has also commanded MONUSCO, a multinational brigade in a Chapter 7 mission in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where he was twice awarded the Force Commander's Commendation. During his career span of 37 years, he has been awarded for gallantry and distinguished services with the UYSM, AVSM, YSM, SM, VSM, COS Commendation on 2 occasions and Army Commander's Commendation. While serving with the United Nations, he was twice awarded the Force Commander's Commendation. Academically inclined, the General has authored numerous articles on national security and leadership, which have been published in various journals and publications. General Rawat assumed the post of General Officer Commanding in Chief, Southern Command on 1st January 2016 and assumed the post of Vice Chief of Army Staff on 1st September 2016. On 17 December 2016, the Government of India designated him as the 27th Chief of Indian Army Staff. He assumed the appointment of Chief of the Army Staff on 31st December 2016. I once again welcome General Bipin Rawat and request him to deliver the General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture. Thank you. May I request you, sir, to take the dais.
Very good afternoon, Professor Nitin Karmalkar, Vice Chancellor, Savitribai, Phule, Pune University, Lieutenant General P.M. Haris, General Officer Commanding in Chief, Southern Command, senior veterans, officers from the Defense Services, faculty and staff of the university, other invitees, ladies, gentlemen, and friends for the media. Today, it is indeed a pleasure and honor for me to be delivering the General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture, especially so because I have this honor of delivering this lecture in the august presence of Mrs. Joshi, who is also present amongst us today. I will with you share my thoughts on India's challenges in the current geostrategic construct, essentially from the land forces outlook. Let me begin with a brief overview of the national security issues so that the current security canvas can be visualized by all of us in the correct perspective. Our security strategic vision is in harmony with our traditional character as a peaceful,
and responsible nation. We have always played a constructive role in international relations. Our security policy flows from two basic cardinals: that we have no extra territorial ambitions and no desire to transplant our ideologies on others. India's national security aim aligns to our need to ensure a conducive internal and external environment for unhindered economic progress and socio-political development, for enabling India to assume its rightful role in the emerging world order. The national security aim translates into our national security objective. These entail ensuring the territorial integrity and creation of a secure internal security environment to mitigate the threats to our unity, to our core values, and to the nation's peaceful development. Therefore, India needs to possess an effective capability to prevent destabilizations of its immediate neighborhood and also address security concerns of our extended neighborhood whenever required to do so. As a responsible nuclear state, we follow a policy of minimal credible deterrence. Security perspective of our nation does not remain constant. India is not a member of any military alliance or strategic grouping. Therefore, it needs to maintain required military capabilities to secure and pursue her national interests. Talking about some of the security deficits which we need to address, we notice that our tumultuous years pre-independence have created immense security deficits which need to be addressed on priority. And these include historical, economic, security, and energy related. More on this later. Talking about the security environment that engulfs us, I will now articulate the global and regional security perspectives which impact us. The global security environment is evolving rapidly and is now getting increasingly complex. Transnational terrorism and radicalism remain on center stage. These have bred numerous hybrid conflicts and greater asymmetric threats, particularly from non-state actors. The Asia-Pacific region is emerging as the global center of gravity. This is due to its fast-growing economies, the biggest producers and consumers of energy resources, the highest number of nuclear weapon states, and those with the highest defense spending lie within this region. Hence, it is natural for India to play a greater role in regional and in international affairs. There are many aspects that lend credence to this. These are the attributes of the gift of geography, the strengths of our culture, presence of natural resources, potential of our population resource, the size of growing economy, our space capabilities, just to name a few. On to our north, China's increased assertiveness in the political, economic, and military domains is being witnessed in many regions of the world. Territorial disputes, including in the maritime domain, have sharpened differences between various states. These could lead to militaristic approaches and challenges to norms of international law and standards of international behavior. With regard to the freedom of navigation, it is essential for impeded commerce that fulfills the needs of economic interdependence between nations. Economy as a driver of geopolitics will continue to retain its primacy. Geopolitics and geoeconomics are being affected by a degree of uncertainty of policies and approaches of major powers. Global ramifications of this, I think, are yet to be fully discerned. Certain regions are witnessing rising aspirations. This is in conjunction with weak economic growth and a variety of environmental and social issues are placing burdens on state structures of few nations, particularly in our neighborhood. Such manifestations in our neighborhood will have security implications for us. Getting down to the regional security environment, in the regional security canvas, terrorism and sectarian conflicts are an increasing threat to the stability. The Afpak region or the Afghan-Pakistan region remains volatile. Afghanistan is and shall remain an area of strategic importance to all of us. We remain committed to the capacity building and capability development of the Afghan Defense Forces. In our neighborhood, there is growing recognition of the need to take a unified view against cross-border terrorism. This is, of course, a positive development. Pakistan, however, is not one of the countries which shares this perspective. China continues to enhance influence in the region. It is doing so by increased defense and economic partnerships in the neighborhood, especially in Pakistan, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or the CPEC, passing through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, challenges India's sovereignty. Now, getting down to India's security dilemmas, before I speak about current and specific issues, it is important to visualize that we face certain inherent dilemmas which are unique. I will first talk about the historic deficit that we have to overcome. Because of the division of India, post-independence into India and Pakistan, our direct linkages with the erstwhile Persia, or what is now referred to as the Middle East or West Asia, has been denuded. And therefore it is important for us to regain our foothold in these countries through other means, or through by identifying other avenues of access into the so-called Middle East region. Had Pakistan and India not divided into two countries, then our hitherto-fore linkages with this region would have remained unhindered. But this is an aspect which we must look into and address with some kind of seriousness. The next issue is the economic deficit that we face. We have a large population with wide disparities in incomes. If we have to remain peaceful and we have to take care of our internal security environment, it is important that we look at inclusive growth. But that necessitates development of our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, to develop a strong economy, you need a strong military force. Because only when you can safeguard your territory from any external aggression and there is internal stability, will the economy prosper. Therefore, this misunderstanding or misconstruct that is there amongst most people, that the defense forces are a burden on the economy, needs to be dispelled. Because a strong defense force will help you develop your economy, because only if there is stability within and you are able to defend your borders can you invite foreign investment into your nation. Therefore, economy and expenditure on defense must go hand in hand. Talking about some of the security deficit that we have, you know we have threat along our northern and western front. At the same time, threat can also emanate from the seaward side. Therefore, we have to maintain strong defense forces, strong forces for internal security in the form of central armed police forces and state police forces. But more importantly, if India is to prosper and develop as a regional power, then it is important that we attempt to gain a permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council. Only then can we ensure our security in the manner in which we wish to. And lastly, talking about the energy deficit, as a growing economy, there is no gainsaying that we have to care for our energy requirements. While most of these energy requirements come through imports, we have to ensure the security of the lines of communication through which these energy resources come into our country. We have to ensure that our energy resources in the nations from where we import remain intact, and that we develop friendly relations with these countries. So, or alternatively, we have to also start looking for alternate sources of energy, whether it be wind or sun. Let me now get down to some of the specific issues, and in particular talking about China. Pockets of dispute and contested claims to territory continue to exist between our two nations. These are due to differing perceptions on the alignment of the line of actual control. Transgressions across the line of actual control do happen, and sometimes these do lead to some kind of misunderstanding between forward troops deployed along the line of actual control. However, we do have joint mechanism in place to address such situations. Chinese armed forces have also made significant progress in their capabilities of force modernization, application and sustenance operations, particularly in the Tibet Autonomous Region of China. This is due to the development of infrastructure, their force reorganization, along with developing capabilities in space and network-centric warfare, is likely to provide them with greater synergy in force application. The recent standoff in the Doklam Plateau by the Chinese side attempting to change the status quo are issues which we need to be wary about, and I think such kind of incidents are likely to increase in the future. We continue to engage with China in the political, economic and military levels, and confidence building measures are in place and need to be carried forward. As regards Pakistan, Pakistan continues to wage a proxy war in Jammu and Kashmir. This inimical design entails employing non-state actors. Attempts are being made to expand infiltration attempts across borders in other states as well, along India's western frontiers. The increasing presence of transnational actors in Pakistan with fundamental ideologies is a matter of grave concern. Pakistan's unabated reliance and support to jihadi groups has serious ramifications to our security. This can lead to the possibility of Pakistan being a conduit for eastward spread of fundamentalistic and Islamic ideology. This lends to complex dimension to the threat not only to us but also for other countries of South and East Asia, including China. The Indian Army remains committed in operations which are highly demanding in terms of skill and endurance to counter Pakistan's designs. Ceasefire violations on the line of control, attempts to aid infiltration by Pakistan Army posts and line of control actions are being and will continue to be responded to proactively by us. We shall take all necessary actions to negate, mitigate and destroy elements involved in planning or taking actions inimical to India's security interests. Punitive response options will continue to be executed by us from time to time. As far as internal security and other threats are concerned, with regard to the proxy war being waged from across the border, it is likely to continue in the near future. The terrorists and the handlers are constantly innovating tactics to throw up new challenges for the security forces. These entail engineering of mass protests across major populated centers, triggering village unrest, to impede ongoing security forces operations and getting security forces personnel embroiled through false accusation charges. Domination and intelligence-based operations by Army are on. I wish to make a special mention also of the Jammu and Kashmir Police and Central Armed Police Forces. They have supported our operations and displayed immense commitment and resilience. We shall continue to work with all stakeholders in addressing the situation that is evolving in Jammu and Kashmir. With regard to insurgency in the northeast, the security situation in the insurgency affected areas of northeast remains stable and is presently under control. However, enduring solutions remain a challenge due to diverse demands of ethnic groups and various militant outfits operating in this region. Few insurgent groups, non-aligned and non-committal to peace processes, are attempting to keep the region restive. They are doing so by exploiting ethnic, tribal and communal fissures. These notwithstanding, the units of the Indian Army, together with the Assam Rifles deployed in the northeast, are doing a commendable job in containing the situation. However, we cannot allow our guard to be lowered, and we have to continue with relentless operations in these areas. With regard to left-wing extremism, the violence levels in the extremist affected areas over the years have declined gradually. However, the threat from Maoist cadres continues to simmer. We are witness to the periodic incidents of attacks on the security forces. The Indian Army, by virtue of its core competencies, shall continue to support the Central Armed Police Forces and state police forces in a training and advisory role. With regard to the hybrid threats and non-traditional challenges, the growing threats to critical national infrastructure, national grids and networks from cyber and outer space are transcending political and geographical divide. The rising instability in our neighborhood has increased the probability of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction in the hands particularly of non-state actors. Drug trafficking, illegal migration, fake currency, human trafficking, socio-economic disparity and widespread demographic, religious and linguistic divides remain significant challenges for our security forces. Climate change has manifested in disruptive seasonal patterns with increased incidents of natural disasters. Rising water levels in coastal areas could trigger cross-border mass migration of people. Competition for natural resources, including water, would get further exacerbated with climate change. Since these changes impact land where people live, the land forces would remain at the forefront of national response strategy. Our current endeavors and focus areas bring out the security challenges that our nation faces today. To counter these, the Indian Army, as the largest component of the armed forces, plays a pivotal role. So let us now speak about certain Indian Army specific issues which are pertinent in addressing national security imperatives. Firstly, I shall talk about some of the areas in focus, first being the capability development. While capability development is an ongoing process, it needs regular audit, review and resurgence. This is necessary to keep it congruent to the extant security imperatives. We do have some force asymmetries with our adversaries, but these are sector/theater specific factors. These asymmetries get addressed when the capabilities of all the three services are augmented for their synergistic employment. The Army specific requirements of force modernization and making up our critical deficiencies remain our key focus areas. So far, the dependence on imports has made the situation difficult, but with the Make in India endeavor and thrust on indigenization, we are on the right path to address our capability requirements in a holistic manner. This shall also result in developing a national defense industrial base in the future. In times of disaster, time is of essence. The armed forces invariably become de facto the first responders due to their pan-India presence, especially in the remote regions of our country. In addition, the services and the army possess key capabilities which can be employed during emergencies. These include intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and an effective communication infrastructure. We have a network of field hospitals and medical facilities even in far-flung areas. Trained engineers and earth-moving equipment which can facilitate emergency construction and repair of roads and bridges. Transportation assets, both surface and aerial, are available with the defense services. The precious lives saved by the men in uniform during some of the recent emergencies are: during the Sikkim earthquake, 971 lives were saved. During the Uttarakhand floods, 38,720. During the Jammu and Kashmir floods, 1,60,130. And the Chennai floods, 19,600. And the support continues during the recent floods that have happened in parts of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and now in West Bengal, Bihar. Our core competencies also exist with us in specialized fields of hostage rescue, bomb disposal, underwater diving, search and rescue, heliborne insertion and extraction. We have rendered assistance in such contingencies wherever these have been called for. However, at the same time, while the defense forces are prepared to undertake such missions, it is important that the capability development of the Central Armed Police Forces are also addressed on priority. The Indian Army is therefore proud to share its core expertise, experience, and training facilities to augment the capabilities of the Central Armed Police Forces. We are training CAPF in counter-terrorism operations. Selective Central Armed Police Forces and state police battalions undergo pre-induction training prior to the deployment in any of the disturbed areas. It also entails counter-improvised explosive device training and attachment of their personnel with our infantry battalions for on-the-job learning and training. With regard to our international engagements, well, the countries all over the world are looking at the Indian Defence Forces for improving their concepts and doctrines with regard to their militaries. Our joint exercises with international partners have evolved both in conduct and content. Our engagements in 2017, that is this year, are with Australia, France, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Thailand, Russia, UK and the US. We do have training also carried out with China, which has been carried out over the past years, but for this year, the confirmation from the Chinese side is still awaited. Toward exploiting our expertise and training infrastructure, there are almost 2,500 vacancies in a large number of courses which have been offered in our training establishment to officers and men from friendly foreign countries. Tailor-made courses are also being run for trainees from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Sri Lanka, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan and Myanmar. We have 10 training teams deployed overseas. These initiatives are important building blocks for enduring partnerships with our friendly nations. As far as our UN commitments go, despite our operational and internal security commitments, the Indian Army has been ensuring contribution to the United Nations peacekeeping missions. Presently, Indian Army personnel are deployed in 9 such missions. The fragile security situation and operating environment in most of these mission areas is very challenging. Despite that, our officers and men have given a fine account of themselves. This has been acknowledged by the United Nations time and again. The contribution and sacrifices of the Indian Armed Forces add significance to India's stance on the need for UN Security Council reforms. Vision for the future. Let me now highlight few key pursuits that are an imperative for us from the future perspective. The first being jointness and integration. The unique capabilities of each service, that is the Army, Navy, Air Force and the Coast Guard, can be best exploited when they fight as an integrated whole. Joint deployment of capabilities are force multipliers. These will sustain true effect-based operations through networking of assets. Domains that are feasible for joint capability augmentation are space-based operations, air support, air defense, intelligence, communication, in the fields of electronic and information warfare, logistics, training, and joint staff functioning, and also the security of our hinterland or rear area security. The three services are jointly engaging in pursuits to explicitly define an approach to deal with future imperatives. With regard to expanding our horizon as the nation envisions its future aspirations towards seeking its rightful place in the global and regional power structure, the need to protect our security interests will increase. The implications accruing from being a net security provider in the region dictate possession of commensurate capabilities. These requirements mandate engagement with the politico-civil setup at various levels in the country and with national coordinating agencies of our international partners. Awareness of institutions, procedures, executing agencies, and scope of such requirements as they unfold is an imperative. It needs to be appreciated that the ground zero situation where such requirements may come up will have unique challenges. These may even entail combat response or self-defense or for saving precious lives. The Indian Army has vital boots on ground to form the crucial component of such tri-services components. With regard to adapting to future warfare, the nature of warfare has undergone a remarkable change. The pace, lethality and intensity powered by latest technologies requires militaries to adapt in order to succeed. The hybrid nature of the battlefield has blurred the distinction between front and rear, friend and foe, and combatants and civilians. In the network-centric environment, modern state-of-art weapon systems can easily outmatch obsolete technology and create force asymmetries. Technological infusion commensurate to contemporary developments shall remain an enduring pursuit. And finally, gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to mention that international politics is about applying national power within the international system in support of national and collective interest. The objectives being pursued and the manner of their pursuit involve the development, coordination, and use of the instruments of national power. These are essentially diplomacy, economic power, and military power. Each of these three instruments have to be used in relation with each other. It will very often be the case that diplomatic means are only successful if they are backed up with an implicit or declared threat to use other means if diplomacy fails. To be an effective instrument of national security, the military cannot operate in isolation. It has to be a part of a fully coordinated and coherent grand strategy in which diplomacy and economics are equally important. The emerging security environment is full of uncertainties. Within the maze of ambiguity, we need to correctly identify and define our security concerns that impact our national aspirations. I am confident that the Indian Army, with its bedrock character built on secular credentials, robust discipline, and astute professionalism, shall remain the aspirations of an emergent India. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for highlighting us to the external as well as the internal security and other threats that India faces today and the role played by the defense forces in rendering help during other emergencies that our country faces like natural disasters. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
I would now request the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Savitribai Phule, Pune University, Professor Dr. Nitin Karmankar, and the Dean, Faculty of Humanities, and Head, Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, Professor Dr. Vijay Khare, to felicitate General Bipin Rawat, Chief of the Army Staff, with a bouquet, a shawl, and a memento. Professor Dr. Nitin Karmalkar, and the Head, Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, Professor Dr. Vijay Khare. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I now call upon the Registrar of Savitribai Phule Pune University, Professor Dr. A.D. Shaligram, to propose a vote of thanks. The Registrar of Savitribai Phule Pune University, Professor Dr. A.D. Shaligram, to propose a vote of thanks.
It has been a wonderful lecture. It is a great honor and privilege to get an opportunity to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. I thank General Bipin Rawat for his gracious presence and the lecture on the occasion of General B.C. Joshi Memorial Lecture 2017. The lecture was no doubt very informative and inspiring. I am extremely grateful to Mrs. Manjula Joshi, wife of late General B.C. Joshi, for her presence amongst us. I would like to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Savitribai Phule Pune University, Professor Dr. Nitin Karmalkar, for his introductory remarks and introduction of the chief guest. I would also like to thank the members of electronic and print media for their interest in covering the lecture. I express my gratitude to the Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, IUCA, for the use of this auditorium and all other facilities extended to us by them. Any event of this magnitude cannot happen overnight. The wheels had already started rolling months ago. We have been fortunate enough to be backed up by a team of motivated and dedicated staff from the Southern Command, along with their entire team of Army personnel who worked to ensure that the lecture goes on smoothly. I would like to place on record my deep appreciation towards the administrative staff, faculty, and students of Savitribai Phule Pune University, security, state, housekeeping, and the staff of Defense and Strategic Studies Department and the International Center, as well as all others who have directly or indirectly supported this lecture. Thank you all once again. Now I would like to request you to stand for the national anthem.
The students of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies will now sing the national anthem. Everyone is requested to stand up and join them in the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्रविड़ उत्कल वंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाए तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you, all of you. Please be seated. I request everyone to be seated except the students and staff of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies who are requested to assemble outside for a photograph with General Bipin Rawat. The students and staff of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies who are requested to assemble outside for a photograph with General Bipin Rawat. You are requested to leave from the exit on my left and from the rear